Now, this next person that we're going to be talking about here is a journalist in the loosest sense of the term, not to be confused with the loosest sense of her slot C. And she thinks nobody should care about a woman's body count.
Oh my God. Oh, and is that Andrew Tate in the picture?
It is.
Oh,
now
okay.
I'm gonna spoil something for you. Okay, I have read this entire article start to finish. It is about 12 paragraphs long. Now, ordinarily in journalism, it's kind of like writing an essay in school. Okay, you begin with a thesis, and then for the remainder of the essay, you are supposed to create a narrative that supports that thesis.
Correct.
Helen Lewis never even attempts to do this in 12 paragraphs.
Well, because it's propaganda, bro.
Well, it's because a woman, like, caring about a woman's body count and all this stuff, and trying to, like, women know that body count is an issue, which is why they lie about it constantly, which makes this indefensible.
Correct.
And how do you defend it? Well, you go on the attack.
Well, also, you got to understand is they are trying to control us with guilt, blame, and shame.
That's exactly what this article is. So we'll go through this paragraph by paragraph, and you're going to see just how insane this is. She never once attempts to actually explain why a woman's body count shouldn't matter. Ever since Elon Musk's lackeys began fiddling with the algorithms of X, formerly Twitter, so already you know that she is basically on the I hate the current thing train.
Correct.
I have noticed a distinct shift in the content that is pushed onto users. My For You tab is now a nest of trad wives, shoplifting videos, and that guy who has strong opinions on trouser creases. It is also home to the kind of old-fashioned me so G whiny that I once thought I was on the decline. Oh, I'm sorry. So you were so used to your echo chamber, your leftoid echo chamber, you could pretend like ideas that disagree with your feminism weren't mainstream. Oh,
Wait,
I'm
shut
so
up.
sorry. It makes me want to just fuck off.
Yeah,
It's not fair. I'm supposed to be able to hide from ideas that I don't like and call them bad names because I'm a journalist. Oh, it only gets worse from here, gentlemen. If you don't have anything strong to drink, I strongly suggest that you pour yourself one now. And that's because X, I love this, a small social network beloved by journalists. It's one of the largest websites in the world. A small social is now providing a window into a much bigger part of the internet, one that is simultaneously absurdly popular and almost invisible to outsiders. It is the interlinking Venn diagram of Twitch streamers, mixed martial arts, wrestling, and boxing fandoms, manosphere influencers, and video game commentators. The way that these guys turn up on one another's podcasts, X feeds, and live streams, and their habit of physically fighting one another for money makes them seem like a younger, more ripped version of the intellectual dark web.
What?
And your complaint is?
Well, first of all, what do you mean they're fighting each other?
I guess like Logan Paul. Logan Paul.
He's a professional fighter.
Well, he wasn't before. He was just a YouTuber. He has like 20 million subscribers, something like that. And then he decided one day he was just gonna, get buff and start kicking the shit out of people.
Oh, yeah, I have no problem with that. I mean,
oh, that's fine. I mean, you would be rather hypocritical of you if you did.
The thing is, it's when you read this, it sounds like it's this utter pandemonium with male influencers fighting each other willy nilly. That is not the case.
Yeah, it's obvious that her entire goal with this is not to actually prove her point. It's to create a moral outrage. And that becomes ever more clear in these next couple of paragraphs.
Yeah, it's basically the smoke screen for the guilt attack.
Yep, and it begins hard and heavy, just like your mama likes it, in here. One of the obsessions of the worst parts of this group, call them the influential jerk web, is body count discourse, in which women, always women, are shamed for the number of sexual partners they've had. The phrase has gained popularity so quickly that Jason Derulo has released a song about it. Now, Derulo is okay with a high body count. Apparently, a quote from his song is, "All that ass must be good at math," he observes, but others are not. A lot of the world's problems could be fixed if women walked around with their body count on their foreheads, the professional kickboxer turned sexist influencer Andrew Tate said in one viral clip. A bit rich, you might think, coming from a self-confessed former pimp who is currently awaiting trial on kangaroo court, I inserted that there, human trafficking and rapé charges. But Tate is only one of many influencers who talk like ayatollahs while adhering to the beauty standards of Ryan Gosling and Barbie. Go ahead.
She said pimp, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's dissect this. Okay. Now, from what I understand, Mr. Tate used to run like a webcam business or something. All right. Now, I personally would never do something like that. But, to each his own. He didn't do anything illegal. And
yeah.
And now everyone is, attaching all of these labels to him that, in my opinion, don't apply. Now, I've listened to a lot of stuff Mr. Tate had to say. I agree with the majority of it, but not all of it, because I do not have a cult mentality. But he is absolutely correct when he talks about men today being weak and needing to get on their frame and reignite their masculinity. 100%. Yeah, and then the people who get mad at him, well, he could phrase it more tactfully. How the hell do you talk to fucking evil? Are you nice to evil's feelings? Do you care what evil thinks or says about you? No. You are never cordial with evil. You never agree with it. Period.
Yeah.
And listen, they call me all kinds of names as well. And all I'm doing is trying to keep you guys from killing yourselves by talking about real world shit and throw a few jokes in there.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it was about 8 months ago, Paul Joseph Watson did a video about the awaiting trial for human trafficking and rapé charges, and how numerous women who have worked for him in the past have come to his defense, and the court over there won't even talk to them.
Nope.
So, I mean, we know this is a dog and pony show. It's a witch hunt, just like with Trump. It is what it is. I will say this, how Tate handles himself, like, oh, look at me, I'm so ripped, and here's all my expensive stuff, my cars and whatnot. It makes him easy for people who don't like him to tear him down, because it does come off as like that douchebaggery, like materialism thing. Like, like women are trash, but here I am putting myself out there in a way that would attract the same kind of women that I can't stand. Like, it's a little hinky. I get it though.
But I mean,
it doesn't mean his message is bad.
It doesn't mean his message is bad. But like you and I, Blake, we're not motivated by money.
No.
I mean, money's nice, but we're not grifting and trying to sell a bunch of people shit they don't need.
Exactly.
That's the difference, I guess.
Yeah. But you can see the blame and shame is kicking in big time. But once again, what do the guys talking about body count have to do with your assertion that no one should care about it, that it shouldn't matter? Just asking.
Well, if you're going to trade stock, you do your research.
Yeah.
You read up on the company. You look back, 10, 15 years to see how the company did in different economic circumstances. And then you make predictions of what do you think that stock is going to do in the future based off past performance. This is simple logic.
Yeah.
Right? If you're with a woman who's been the town bicycle, at some point, you're going to get rotated out, because the feels won't be there anymore because she can't pair bond.
Yeah. I mean, according to these women who think body count should not matter, Uh, businesses that have a huge problem with like shoplifting should just hire felons because their past doesn't matter, right?
Correct.
And women know that it's bullshit. Why? Because they love to throw this phrase out there all the time when dealing with a-holes that they love to complain about but can't stop fucking. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Sounds
Correct.
like somebody's judging somebody else by their past to me.
That's exactly what they're doing. And you would be right to do that.
Exactly. Past behavior is an indicator of future behavior.
Correct.
Here we go. These men provide Gen Z and younger millennials with a very old template for masculinity filtered through the new visual grammar and vocabulary of YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Take the mixed martial artist Dylan Dennis, who is scheduled to fight the YouTuber turned pro wrestler Logan Paul in a boxing match in Manchester, England on October 14th. In the past 5 years, influencer boxing has become a lucrative content machine. Logan and his brother Jake, who have more than 20 million YouTube followers each, have led a trend along the British streamer JJ Olatunji, better known as KSI. Their venues are located around the world in places such as Texas and Saudi Arabia, and the fights make thousands of dollars on pay-per-view. Influencer boxing is characterized by the kind of pre-match smack talk familiar from professional wrestling, but internetified. And that means, unfortunately, a torrent of sexually inflected misogyny. I'm sorry. How is violence in any way between two men duking it out in the ring reflective of hatred toward females?
Well, hang on. This is a standard tactic women use to invade male spaces and then destroy them.
Yes.
We've seen it done with the Boy Scouts. They're doing it to the Army. Like literally, as a dude, you have a hard time finding any kind of club or place to hang out with other dudes and just do dude shit. Because women show up and then they want everyone to change because they're offended. Yeah, go to hell.
Yeah.
Go to hell. Seriously. And that's one of the main reasons we got the Redonkulous Regiment here. Is I'm trying to bring like-minded people together so we can communicate, laugh, see what's going on in the real world, and realize we are not out of our minds. We're not crazy.
No.
We're just reacting logically to the insanity of the world.
Yeah. And when she talks about an old template of masculinity, that's hidden shaming language as well. It
Correct.
means that if you adhere to any form of traditionalism, you're bad, you're out of date, you need to catch up with the times. Men now are happy to worship at the buffet of 304dom and, just grovel on our knees hoping to break off a piece. Fuck you.
Bring back dueling.
There you go.
Bring back dueling. I'm sick of this shit.
Scroll down Dennis's X feed and you'll see what I'm talking about. Over the past few weeks, he has relentlessly targeted Paul's fiancée, Nina Agdal, posting photographs of her with her exes, digging out Instagram posts in which she is somewhat scantily dressed. She's a model, a nude model, just in case anybody was curious. If you want to know just how modest she is, Google Nina Agdal nude. You're welcome.
There you go.
Claiming that he could put any prize money toward HIV medication pills for Nina's exes, implying that she has dated everyone she has ever been photographed with and calling her a whore.
Well, hang on,
not for nothing, but I'm just saying.
All right, hang on. I looked at some of these pictures, and I would say that's an accurate assumption. Just saying.
Yes.
It's just my opinion.
Oh, I absolutely think that you're correct. I've seen the pictures myself. I know exactly what's been going on there, and yeah, and not for nothing, but the stereotype of models banging their photographers became a stereotype for a reason.
Yeah.
Not to mention, yeah, I looked at a list of her ex-boyfriends. Just the cavalcade of Kawantaha between the few dudes that I knew of. I mean, just imagine all of that disease duplication being ramrodded through the same chick, one after the other.
Yeah,
listen. Woo.
Well, first of all, if you get enough deliveries to the warehouse from a bunch of different trucks and drivers, at some point you're going to wind up catching something that doesn't go away.
Yep. And we're going to get to that later. You better believe it.
Oh, yeah. I love it when we have the receipts, man.
Oh, yeah. This tsunami of sleuth shaming nestles between other insults, such as mocking Paul's failed NFT project, CryptoZoo. In return, Paul has taunted Dennis about his dead father. Most fans will therefore see the cracks about Nina Agdal's professional wrestling style kayfabe, building up the hype for the fight so that Paul is trying to not just win the match, but defend his honor. Well, he better defend his frickin' insurance paperwork for all the medication he's going to need to clean out his penis. Pro wrestling is a highly choreographed sport. Many fights are billed as grudge matches, and the Paul brothers' internet-era innovation has been to bring its obsession with storylines to boxing. In 2019, Logan Paul claimed at a press conference that KSI's family didn't love him. 4 years on, the two men own a sports drink company, Prime, together. Well, good for them, because once, that's typical dude stuff, though.
Yeah.
You fight, and then when you're done fighting, you bury the match. You go get a beer.
And you get over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, unless they did something like deeply personal, most guys are just like, okay, it's done.
So just to recap, gentlemen, we are now 7 paragraphs deep, and we still have not seen her even attempt to defend her thesis.
Because it's propaganda.
It's indefensible.
Yeah.
But one person who apparently doesn't find the post funny is Agdal herself. On September 6th, she filed for an injunction under New Jersey's revenge Ornpay laws, accusing Dennis of posting a non-consensual, sexually explicit photograph of her. Again, Google her if you think that she's modest. Displaying full frontal nudity. Google her. To millions of social media users in the course of a relentless and ongoing campaign of cyber harassment and bullying.
Right. Hang on. All right. First of all, the internet is forever. So you need to be careful with what you put out there.
She did this to herself.
Yeah.
She was granted a temporary restraining order. Dennis deleted that photo, but falsely claimed that Agdal was trying to put him in jail while she is seeking damages. This is actually wild, he added in a post that, according to X, has been viewed 18 million times. Dennis presented the lawsuit at his opponent's camp, trying to tank the October 14th fight, adding, Logan Paul is a dead man walking.
Listen, this is nothing new.
Nope.
Wrestling, boxing has always had shit talkers. And you know who the best shit talker was? Muhammad Ali.
Mm-hmm.
This is nothing new.
No. And I'm sure it's all a well-orchestrated publicity campaign, because 99% of the time, it's exactly what this stuff is.
Yeah, they want to sell more tickets. And yeah, I understand it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm all for capitalism.
Yeah.
Now, this next paragraph here is my absolute favorite, and I'll explain why when we're finished with it. In feminist circles, already, like, if she didn't have any credibility before, now she just dug underneath the bottom of the barrel. She's down with the worms and all of the buried dinosaur shit. Mm-hmm. Dennis's behavior would be classified as DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim, and defender. This sympathetic character in his version of the story is himself. A man threatened with jail for engaging merely in some lighthearted badinage. Shh! Don't mention that it was at the expense of a woman who never asked to be involved with this circus. When Agdal understandably complained about becoming the focus of his fans' aggression, Dennis called upon 2020's favorite misogynist trope. Nina Agdal will be called Karen Agdal until further notice. Okay. Shall I explain why this is my favorite paragraph? Okay. DARVO, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender. Okay. Helen Lewis, the author of this article, has denied that a woman's body count matters. She has attacked anyone who insists that it does, and now she wants to claim that women are the victims of their own decisions because men are trying to hold them accountable. Thank you. I'm here till Thursday. Bye-bye. In other words, go fuck yourself.
Wow.
Just saying.
Talk about turning it around on her. Jesus.
Well, the thing is, when you read articles like this, you have to be prepared for a level of cognitive disconnect that's going to give you a headache. And this woman fits that to a T.
Got to shoot up some copium.
It's super good. Oh, and it snorts them too. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got some Tony Montana copium up in this motherfucker. Woo!
I don't know.
I can't be the only one who thought we left overt, unapologetic sexism like this behind. Where?
All right. When I read this, when you sent me the links earlier today, that was one of the sentences about the sexism thing that stood out to me.
Oh, yeah.
Like, come on. All right, listen. Again, this article's propaganda. It's trying to drive you down a certain thought path for a end result of some type, which is not going to work out.
No.
No.
Blame and shame can only take an argument so far. Just because she's putting factually accurate pieces of information about these dudes in here does not mean that her conclusions drawn from those facts are accurate, especially when she does not attempt to prove the thesis where these facts are allegedly relevant, which they're clearly not.
No. Well, she's not defending them at all.
No,
she's attacking.
What is most striking about Dennis's feed is how masculine his world seems, because masculinity is now apparently an ad hominem.
It's the new white hood that you wear with, putting a cross on somebody's front yard.
Oh yeah, they're trying to popularize the term gym cell now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just goes to show you how pathetic the modern leftoid has become. Life is a competition between men and women are just the prizes or the liabilities. Well, we know they're not the prize, so yeah. Tate, whose public comments give little indication that he enjoys spending time with women, shows the same attitude. Spoken like a true person who has never listened to the man speak. Maybe these guys are obsessed with body counts because they treat life as one giant scoreboard. Coming from a woman, that's rich.
Yep.
Ask any dude who's ever been divorced whether or not his woman kept score, and that's what led to the divorce. I dare you. I triple dog dare you.
We did a video on this called The Fight Bank.
Yes, we did.
Women never forget shit. They pull stuff up from like decades prior. I told you not to go hunting while I was having a baby. That was 15 years ago. I don't care. Like, oh my God.
Oh. You told me I could go.
Wish I knew better. Oh my God.
How dare you? Oh man.
Listen, dude, we've all heard it. You've been there, especially if you're divorced.
Whether or not Dana sees his foes as kayfabe is irrelevant. So now the person's own motivations are irrelevant. At least some portion of his audience won't, because he's tapping into well-established anti-feminist talking points. In this worldview, the most humiliating thing that could happen to a man is failing to control his woman, an attitude that puts men into a torturous position of constant precarity. Other humans are by definition uncontrollable, no matter how much you intimidate them or patrol their behavior. But tell that to the late millennial and Gen Z influencers trying to shame women so that they will behave and not embarrass the men who are deemed to be in charge of them. Wow, that's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, in charge.
And it's all bullshit.
It is.
Men having standards is not controlling behavior. It is letting you know as a woman that we are thinking of as a prospective mate what we will tolerate and what we won't.
That's right. And
that's
listen,
not ownership, and that's not being in charge of you. That's having standards, which apparently women are allowed to have, no matter how unrealistic, and men are not.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing. As you get older as a man, honor and respect become much more important to you.
Oh yeah.
And it's hard to maintain your honor and respect if you have a woman on your arm who everyone else has been riding around for years. And don't like that. It interrupts with our peace and tranquility, which is very important to us once we get to start playing on the back nine.
Oh yeah, and in modernity, it is hard fought for.
Yeah,
very hard fought for. Thank you, Bidenomics. Oh, we got more. How is there still more? Miso G. Whiny occupies a sweet spot in our culture. It is frowned upon enough to make young men trading off it feel edgy, but it's typically less taken seriously than racism. Citation needed.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the racism that they're going on about was pretty much done in the early 70s.
Yeah.
It doesn't really exist anymore. They're just looking for whatever reason to get upset about.
Yep. It's quite ridiculous, actually.
Yes.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of dudes rotting in prison from a woman's accusation exclusively with no evidence who would very much disagree that it's taken less seriously than racism. So you could take that and shove it up your ass, Helen Lewis. Its post-Me Too resurgence has led to members of the influential jerkweb coming out with phrases you might have thought died out with 19th century laws on acceptable forms of wife-beating. Wow, so now we're going to go into that blame and shame on full tilt. In 2021, the live streamer Sneeko notoriously confessed that he had watched his girlfriend have sex with another man at a party and told the Peer-to-Peer podcast, "It felt like somebody was taking something from me, like someone was violating my property." He was at pains to note that wanting to watch another man have sex in no way it suggested that he was bisexual, which suggests a brittle borderline homophobia is also part of the deal. Oh, please.
Hang on. So the guy felt like somebody was taking something from him?
Because he was.
He was. Taking your fucking self-respect, you dumbass.
And leaving a deposit of DNA behind.
Yeah, dude. God
Don't you love how she's trying to fold like the polyamory shit into this? If you are unwilling to watch another man plow your woman, well, then you're just homophobic and you're problematic and you need to get with the times and man up. Give me a break.
I have no idea what a man is.
No, they don't. And they've been telling us forever we don't know what a woman is. No uterus, no opinion, right? Well, take your own advice.
That's right.
Ridiculous. Two other things are worth noting about the body count discourse. The first is that some people on the edges of the influential jerk web have consciously rejected its exhausting sexual monitoring of women. The left-wing streamer, why that's relevant, who the fuck knows? For example, was raised Catholic but is now in an open relationship. His partner, Melina Goranson, regularly mocks Dennis and other bro streamers and recently retweeted a post by another user that read, "Quickly now, do some push-ups. That's how we change the world. Now go home and call women whores for not acknowledging your existence and making their own money."
Wow.
So what you're telling me is that polyamorous people are so far up their own asses that they don't even have the slightest bit of like critical thinking skills.
Well, that's what it sounds like here.
How is this actually mocking anyone successfully?
Not really.
Doing push-ups now is toxic masculinity. Everyone who works out calls women hooers.
But the thing is, at this portion of the article that you're reading, she's literally run out of anything she can logic jam with. There is no argument. Literally, from now on, the rest of this is all just drivel.
It is. It's all just shame and drivel. None of it actually, there's no points being made here. It's all attack. The whole thing is attack. She does not attempt to defend her points at all. It's pathetic.
Well,
the second thing...
I'm sorry, go ahead. It's propaganda.
Exactly. This is meant to elicit an emotional response from people who already agree with her. This is not going to change anybody's mind. The second thing is that in accordance with Rule 34 of the internet, the straight male anxiety that Dennis and Tate are tapping into has been translated into Ornpay. One of those joining the pushback against Dylan Dennis was the influencer Adam Grandmaison, better known as Adam22. If you know who he is, you're probably laughing already. He has a podcast with his wife, Lena Nersessian, or Lena the Plug, where they interview a female Ornpay actor and then sleep with her. Last month, though, Nersessian slept with another man instead. Amid all the mockery about Lena's body count and how Adam was a cuck, the video went viral. So viral that he bought her a $400,000 Lamborghini to celebrate its success.
Yep.
Tate criticized them, telling the former Fox News host Tucker Carlson that this is what the Matrix wants from you as a man. They want the woman in charge and the man below with no backbone. I would argue in nearly any household where the female is dominant, everyone is vaccinated. Unfazed, the couple went on a podcast with Tate and invited him to take part in a threesome. Tate declined. I would too. Who would want to get in the middle of that worm pile?
You don't want to get in that worm pile, man. You don't want none of that.
You have any idea how many diseases are probably floating between those two? Ugh.
Yeah, and I remember Pearl did an episode about this guy after he bought her the car. What a spineless octopus cuck.
Yep.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? He made his own bed and he invited someone else to lie in it.
That's right.
What gonna do? And you know what? Like I said, I'm a capitalist, so the fact that he made money off of this catastrophic blunder that will inevitably lead to a divorce, good on him.
Yeah. Yeah. He did.
When she demands half the car, he can cut it in half with a chainsaw.
First of all,
and then, of course, the house is already divided firmly in half. He gets the outside, she gets the inside.
Yeah. But, that car is probably going to get totaled or wasted or something.
Probably giving someone else other than him roadhead. In a construction zone. The intense interest in Grand Mason and Nersessian's relationship makes sense. If the worst thing you can say to a man is that his partner is a hero, then there's money on the table for whoever will admit to reveling in his wife's high body count. And that's the real lesson here. The internet has smashed all kinds of taboos, but without taboos, how can people feel the thrill of breaking them? The influential jerkweb has brought back sexual shame not just to control women, but to extract pleasure from doing so.
All right. Hang on a minute. All right. The marriage rates are at a historical low right now. I think it's 5.1 out of 1,000 people are getting married because there's no upside to it. More than likely, the woman you decide to marry has been with at least 10 people. So the chances of her staying in a long-term marriage are very slim. So in the grand scheme of things, you have to be choosy in regards to the dick stacking test. There's a reason I came up with that. That was 8 years ago I came up with that?
Yeah, at least.
Because I was guilty of it myself. I didn't pay attention. And I almost paid the ultimate price for it.
Yep.
This is very important.
It is. And that is the entire article. At any point in all of that mindless drivel, does she ever actually defend what it is she set out to say?
Nope.
Or prove it in any way, shape, or form?
It's all just opinion.
Yep. And with that being said, we're going to prove her wrong with 4 graphs.
Here we go.
At one time.
Because you know what? We bring the receipts.
I'm sure these are coming through a little hazy because of my internet issue, but I'm going to read them all to you so that you can understand exactly what's up. The graph on the top left is women who have more non-marital sexual partners are more likely to be infected with sexually transmitted diseases. So the smallest one on the left is 3.63%. That's if you've had no partners whatsoever outside of the person that you marry. Those are your odds of contracting an STD. Once you get over 20 partners, that number goes up to 41.89%.
And where are these stats found?
The CDC, National Center for Health Statistics, and the National Survey of Family Growth. They're all corroborated across the board.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, it's even worse. The top right graph is women who have more non-marital sexual partners are less likely to have stable marriages. So if your woman if you are her one and only, and you write a check against it, you have an 80% chance of success. I'd call that pretty good.
Well, you have an 80% chance of staying married.
Yes, you have an 80% chance of staying married.
Yeah, I don't even know what the percentage is if you'd actually be happy and content. It's probably fairly low.
Between 16 and 20 partners, that number drops to 17.8%.
Yep.
And it's a precipitous drop.
Wow.
Bottom left graph here. Bottom left graph. Women who have more non-marital sexual partners are less likely to be happy.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, over half of women, 55.8%, are happy having just one partner, their husband. I mean, not all marriages are happy, and shit happens, you know. Most people are just not happy with themselves, and they expect other people to make them happy. There you go.
Yeah.
But you go down the list here, I mean, just with one extra partner, that drops by more than 10%. And then it continues to drop until 20 plus partners. You have a 31.9% chance of actually feeling happy. Explains the head meds. In fact, It explains it almost exactly because about a third of Western women are on head meds.
Yeah, listen, there's girls walking across the stage to get their high school diploma who have the 1,000 cocks there already.
Yep.
That is going to be one hell of a long, miserable life.
Yes, it will.
If these stats play out.
Oh, it gets even better. The last study here on the bottom right, women who have more non-marital sexual partners are more likely to be depressed.
Mm-hmm.
Depression hits women who have only one sexual partner, their husband, 2.8% of the time.
Wow.
That's it. At the peak, 16 to 20 sexual partners, 8.3% chance of thorough depression.
So what you're trying to say is the more penises that stir up the chemical pot, the greater the chance of a mental illness.
Just a bit.
Okay. I got you.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing what facts will do to just like upset the balance of your whole day?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing when it comes to facts, all right? The numbers and stuff. I did 33 years in the military. I used to bet my life and bet the lives of my men based on, the numbers and the stats. And I never lost a dude. So if you want to succeed, you got to pay attention to the stats.
Exactly.
I mean, 40% chance of some type of, sexually transmitted, crotch critters or whatever. That is nothing to be sneezed at. And it's very similar to the same stat for swingers.
Exactly.
Like 45% of swingers, after they've been doing it for over 5 years, have, they have the warts or they have the herp or they have both.
The warts.
Yeah.
It's bad news bears, man. Very much bad news bears.
They got the Amy Whartons and,
Yep. What are you going to do? But before we end this and go to new tech, we're going to read some of your chats, of course. And again, dudes, like, don't be shy about sending in the videos. Okay, we're not going to watch them tonight. We are going to archive them and create whole streams based on them. So don't be shy about that. But we want to know your thoughts on these articles. And if you just have any random questions for us or stories, send them on over. We love to read them. But before we do that, I just have one last thing to say to Helen Lewis for writing this god-awful piece of shit.
I'm not being funny. I mean, no disrespect. But you're the cunt. You're the cunt now. You've always been a cunt. And the only thing that's going to change is you're going to become an even bigger cunt.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.